Hi everyone, welcome to this lesson on First Rule of Thumb, written by the mighty Brent Mason. Before we start the lesson, I'd like to point out that only the first part will be released on YouTube. For full access, you can head over to my Patreon page or to my brand new website. If you are looking for the tab and notation file, then do head over to the website and buy it through the music notes link there. That way you'll get 20% off the regular price. All links are down below in the description. Now, Brent Mason might not be a regular name in the fingerstyle community, but the man is a living legend among session guitar players. He lives in Nashville, probably the most intimidating place in the world to be a guitar player, and yet he manages to scare the most seasoned professionals on a daily basis with his incredible technique and his endless creativity. Luckily for us, this tune isn't the most intimidating song in his repertoire. Your picking hand is getting a bit of a break in this one, while we focus mostly on the left hand. There are lots of quick position shifts and the pinky is going to get quite a workout, but the end result is an incredibly cool jazz blues tune with a very distinct Jerry Reed flavor to it. Clear your schedule for the coming week because we are diving in. Okay, straight to playing, and the guitar is in standard tuning. I've gone for my trusty old Martin with really clear position markings because we're going to be moving up and down the neck quite a bit, and I'm using a thumb pick like Mr. Mason is doing. Now, it will sound fine without a thumb pick, and it will also sound fine on a nylon string guitar like Mr. Mason's studio recording, or on a big box jazz guitar. It sounds fine on every instrument you play it on. Let's dive into the verse straight away. Mr. Mason's original recording, the studio recording, has a free time intro to it. I'm going to skip that for now. If you really want to learn that intro too, then just let me know through a little message down below in the comments. But for now, I'm going to stick to teaching you the verse and the bridge. Here we go. One time through the first verse. Short and sweet, especially it's a wonderful challenge for the left hand. It's not too bad for the picking hand this time, luckily. We start with a small upbeat in the bass, middle finger, 3rd fret on the low E string, which is tuned down to a D, but I will always refer to this string as being the low E string. It's just a force of habit. So low E string, 3rd fret, middle finger, down to the 2nd fret, index finger, and then down to the open string. Depending on which verse you listen to, it's either all picked, it's played even with a slide sometimes, or with a pull-off. Whatever works for you, you can pick and choose whatever you do with this small upbeat. Then as that low E string rings out, you head up to the 6th fret, pinky on the B string, ring finger on the G string, and you slide up to the 7th fret. 1, 2, 3. And that slide lands exactly on the first beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Then index finger, 5th fret on the high E string, followed up with the ring finger or the pinky on the 7th fret on the high E string. 1, 2, 3. Index finger to the 4th fret on the low E string, you add the middle finger to the 5th fret on the G string and the ring finger to the 5th fret on the B string, and we're going to hammer on with the pinky to the 6th fret on the B string straight away. So 1, 2, 3. So bass note, plucking the double stop and then hammering on with the pinky, removing the pinky straight away again and re-picking the 5th fret on the B string. You shift up both the index finger and the ring finger 1 fret to the 5th fret on the low E string and the 6th fret on the B string, and you switch over the middle finger to the B string as well, 5th fret, because you're going to use that note in just a second. That switch is before the beat. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, right in front of the beat. Now there's a choice to make. As already mentioned, Mr. Mason then plays the E on the 5th fret on the B string, but it's also possible, and I would probably guess that in a more, let's say, in an optimized version of this tune, you could also just pick an open E string underneath, giving you a little bit more time to move to the next chord, because that is a pretty tricky one. So you either play 3, 4, 1, 2, 2, the 5th fret on the B string. This is what Mr. Mason plays. Or you do this, 3, 4, 1, 2, and you just play an open E string down below. That open E string can ring out as you transfer to the next chord. This is a pretty tricky one to get right in the beginning. Small bar across 3 strings, D string, G string, and B string on the 3rd fret using the index finger, adding the middle finger on the 4th fret on the G string, and then the pinky on the 6th fret on the low E string. That open E string can help you to get the fingers around that chord just a little bit easier. So see if it works for you. 2, 3. First, the pinky on the bass note, and then you drop in the bar. You plug the D string and the B string at the same time using the thumb pick and the middle finger, and then you plug the 4th fret on the G string. 2, 3. That is the first section. Maybe one more time using that open E string. 2, 3. So playing that open chord allows you to reach for that bass note just a little bit sooner. Then in front of the first beat again, open A string together with the index finger on the 6th fret, and you're going to slide up to the 7th fret, both on the B string, as you land on the first beat. 3, 4, 1. Pinky to the 10th fret, and then the trickiest section of the whole song revolves around a small B dominant chord. So let me put all of that together. Landing on the index finger, 7th fret on the G string, together with the middle finger, 8th fret on the low E string. You add the ring finger to the 9th fret straight away. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So from that single index finger on the 7th fret, you head over to a small bar. You can put it down straight away, that bar, but I find it a little easier to first grab that chord like this and then add the bar once the ring finger is in place. If you find it easier to add the bar straight away while playing, then you're going to save a little bit of time with what is coming up. One more time. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. On the 3rd beat, it's just a small bar across 2 strings, D string and G string on the 7th fret with the index finger, and then hammering on with the ring finger, with the middle finger to the 8th fret on the G string, while still holding down that ring finger on the 9th fret. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Ending up on the 7th fret, holding down the bar now across 4 strings in total on the high E string. 3, 4. And now the trickiest shift of the whole song is letting go of this chord shape and then quickly grabbing with the index finger the 6th fret on the A string, and with the ring finger the 7th fret on D string. And you're just playing this double stop really quickly before shifting all the way down to the 2nd fret with the middle finger. I'm going to give you an alternative for this small chord shape in just a second, but this is exactly what Mr. Mason plays. 3, 4. That's really quick, especially once you play it up to tempo. 3, 4. and then hammering on from the open G string to the first fret. If that shift is too quick, then there is one simple solution. You just hold down the bar. 3, 4, and you just pluck the 7th fret, still holding down the bar with the index finger. The only thing you're losing out on is that D sharp on the 6th fret on the A string. But then the move down to the 2nd fret is even quicker. So it's a bit win or lose. You see what works for you. Either playing that double stop here sort of puts you in a better spot to move down to the low E string. If that one chord shape is really tricky, then stick to the bar. So one more time, the alternative. 3, 4. All the way down to the 2nd fret, or Mr. Mason's original fingering. 3, 4. Whatever you do, you land on that low open E string, 2nd fret, and you're going to hammer on the G string from an open string to the 1st fret while playing an open D string alongside that. Again, that bass note lands right in front of the first beat. 3, 4. Open B string. 3, 4. 1, 2. Middle finger stays on the low E string and shifts up to the 4th fret, and you add the index finger on the 3rd fret on the B string. 3, 4. To an open A string. Then a small bar across 3 strings, but you're only going to play the G string and the high E string on the 1st fret. Double stop to 2 open strings, again the G string and the high E string. 3, 4. Then middle finger to the 4th fret on the A string. You're going to plug that with the thumb pick, then to an open G string. Index finger 3rd fret on the D string, and as you hammer on with the middle finger to the 4th fret, you're going to play an open low E string underneath that. That last section is a triplet. 2, 3, 4, 1. That's the timing you're going for. That full bar, that last one. 3, 4. Ending on a low E string again, and those were the first 4 bars. Let me play those first 4 bars one more time, all the way through really slowly, connecting all the dots. Here we go. 2, 3. Ending up on that low E string, index finger 3rd fret on the B string, and then pinky sliding on the high E string from the 5th fret to the 7th fret. Open A string, which is just a quick little bass note before heading to the 3rd fret on the A string and dropping the pinky back down to the 5th fret. So you head up to the 7th fret and you play that open A bass string, then you drop down and you add the index finger to the 3rd fret on the A string. And in just a second, you're going to remove the pinky and play the middle finger on the 3rd fret on the high E string as well. 3, 4. And you see that A bass note in between. There's just a little quick bass note. And now switching around, middle finger, 2nd fret on the A string, open B string, open E string, and with the index finger you're going to hammer on the 1st fret on the high E string and pull back off straight away. Like that. Together. So double stop together with the bass note, pinky 3rd fret on the B string to an open B string. End up there, index finger 1st fret on the A string, middle finger 1st fret on the G string, pinky 3rd fret on the B string. And again, we're going to play that together and then move to an open E string. It's actually first the bass note, then double stop on the G string and B string, and then an open E string on top of that. That whole section together. Funny looking chord shape here, open A string. Index finger, 5th fret on the D string, although you're not actually playing that, it's just more of a safety here. And then ring finger, 6th fret on the G string and pinky 6th fret on the B string. And that pinky is going to slide up to the 7th fret, and that is going to give you the chord we are aiming for, which is an A dominant 13 chord in this case. Now we're going to follow that up with a single note lick, and I'm going to show you 2 variations. The first one I think is the easiest one to play, and then in verse 2 we'll check out the more difficult option. It goes something like this. 3, 4, 1. And it's sliding up to the 7th fret as you land on the 1st beat again. 3, 4, 1. Then releasing the index finger, 5th fret on the high E string, to the 7th fret with the ring finger, and then a small bar across 2 strings on the 5th fret, B string and E string, and then as you hammer on to the 6th fret, you try to let go of the high E string. Pull off to the 5th fret and slide down to the 3rd fret. And then ending up with the middle finger on the 4th fret on the G string. Together with that previous part of the lick, 3, 4. Low E string and then index finger 3rd fret on the B string, middle finger 4th fret on the G string and ring finger 5th fret on the low E string. Adding the pinky to the 6th fret on the low E string, and then to an open A string, ring finger 4th fret on the D string, index finger 2nd fret on the G string, and middle finger 3rd fret on the B string. That is your final chord. Timing of that last section, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Back to the same pickup bar we used to start the first verse with. And that was the full first verse, the whole 8 bars. Let me put together those last, let's say those 2 bars leading into the single note lick. 3, 4. Ending up on the low E string. Those last 4 bars all the way through. 3, 4. And that was the full first verse. Let me play those 8 bars all the way through one more time, really slowly. 2, 3. And the good news is each and every verse is the same thing. So verse 2 is the exact same thing, apart from the very last bar, which is going to lead us into the bridge. But the bridge, it's just one chord that you need to add. So I'm going to play through verse 2 now, just a little bit more up to tempo. And I'm going to attach the magnet to the guitar, giving you a bit of a better look at the picking hand. Let me get it. So in that last chord, that is what I was talking about. A D dominant flat 13 chord. Pinky, 4th fret on the D string, ring finger, 3rd fret on the G string, and then index finger, small bar on the 1st fret across the B string and high E string. You play that chord and then you add the low D string underneath, the low E string, still sounding like a D, before letting go of everything and switching over with pinky to the 5th fret on the low E string. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That is the timing you're going for. With those few first chords attached to that, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That is the full section. That D dominant flat 13 chord isn't only a mouthful, but it's also a tricky one to get down straight away in the beginning, but just hang in there. The shape in itself is in position, so it shouldn't really feel like a stretch. Make sure that the thumb is in the middle of the hand, not sitting up here, but really in the middle of the hand and down below on the neck. And then this chord shape should not give you too much problems. One more time, just that very last section connecting those chords together. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And then we dive straight into the bridge, and the bridge is something for part 2 of the tutorial. I'll see you there.